Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina wa may yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma shalli ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yaumil din. Amma ba'd. Your Excellency, Mr. Vice Rector, Hilman Latief, Ph.D, the Dean of Faculty of Islamic Studies, Dr. Hilman, M.P.A, the honorable speakers, Professor Dr. Amin, Abdullah, Dr. Mahzan, Dr. Slama, and distinguished presenters, colleagues from the IAS, colleagues from UMG, all friends, presenters, and friends who are able to come here today. It is great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome you to the event of the first international conference on Islamic Studies in the digital era, in collaboration with International Islamic University in Malaysia. I will be thanking all the communities, all the support from UMY and PI leadership for endless support for this event. All the community members, the LO, licensing officers, for their hard work to make this event run smoothly and successfully. And today we are going to, yesterday actually, the event is starting yesterday. We have panel session, we have six panel sessions, and I hope all the presenters, all who are involved in the event can get fruitful discussion, fruitful conversation, also networking, and hopefully in the near future or next year, the conference next year will be better, and we will have a bigger event, inshallah. And special thanks actually goes to all presenters who came from all over the world, all over Asia, from Taiwan, from Vietnam, from Malaysia, and from all other cities in Indonesia. I welcome you here in UMY, and I hope you can, as Master of Ceremony, say, enjoy Yogyakarta, not only UMY, but also Yogyakarta in general, because we have a beautiful city that you can enjoy all the corners of Yogyakarta. Has many treasures of culture and sightseeing, for example. And please accept our sincere apology if there are any shortcomings in our service in the organization of this conference, and hopefully we can make it better next year, because we plan to hold this conference, and also maybe starting next year we will be having summer school as well. And I welcome your participation in the event next year, inshallah. And our topics for this conference and presentation is mapping Islamic studies and Quranic studies in the digital era. Dr. Mahzan will be presenting about the knowledge building in this digital era, in this disruptive era. And Dr. Slama will be presenting also about social media and religious authority in Indonesia, which is quite closely related to what is going to be presented by Professor Amin Abdullah regarding the religious authority in information society. The reason for why Faculty of Islamic Studies especially and International Islamic University of Malaysia hold this event, one of the reasons is that in this digital era, I remember one of distinguished Egyptian scholar who resides in Canada right now. His name is Abdullah. He used to say that we need to stop sending people, sending students to go to the Arab world to study Islam. Because when they are going back from the Middle East, from the Arab world, they cause division within the community. They start to accuse somebody else as disbelief, as kufr, as doing bid'ah, and not part of the Muslim community anymore. And from that moment, I also remember what being said by Professor Latief that probably in the near future, the center of Islamic civilization is no longer in the Middle East. Probably starting here, around Southeast Asian Muslim society. So, to prepare ourselves, to build our opposition, to be the centers of Islamic civilization, we need to enrich ourselves by having conversation, collaboration within Southeast Asian universities, and to talk each other, to build networking, from which we can be one of the centers of excellence in the Islamic world, hopefully in the near future. Alright? And I hope, sincerely hope, we can enjoy and get many fruitful discussion today, and hopefully in the future or the next year we will be seeing you again for another conference, summer school, or another collaborative event, inshallah. Thank you very much again for all participants, for all colleagues who work together, working hard to make this event run successfully. Thank you very much. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shifan. Respectable guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are proceeding to our main agenda for this morning, which is the plenary sessions. These plenary sessions will be led by the moderator, but before giving the time to our moderator, let me read a bit of series from our moderator. So, Mr. Hilman Latief was born in Tasikmalaya. He works in UMY as a lecturer in the Department of Muamalat and Islamic Economy. But not only becoming the lecturer, he is also becoming the vice rector of UMY for students, alumni, Al-Islam and Muhammadiyah Movement Affairs. He finished his bachelor degrees in Universitas Islam Negeri Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta in 1999, and then he finished his master's degrees in Universitas Gajah Mada in 2002. Another master's degrees he has done in Western Michigan University of USA in 2005, and lately he finished his doctorate degrees in Utrecht University of the Netherlands in 2012, focusing on methodology of Islamic studies. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for our moderator, Mr. Hilman Latief.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Distinguished speakers, Latief, Professor Abdullah, Professor Ahmed, and all participants. And today we are going to have a very interesting, stimulating topic about how Islamic studies develop in the digital era and how also Islam as part of the civilization in this world also has influenced the digital world, and Muslims in particular are involved. Millions of Muslims all over the world are involved in social media and all digital facilities, digital tools, and the question is what's the impact to our civilization and what kind of studies that we can conduct in the near future considering this kind of situation. Today we have distinguished speakers, and I would like to invite all speakers to come forward. First of all, Martin Slama from Australian Academy of Science, as well as Professor Mahzan, Professor of the National Islamic University, and Professor Amin Abdullah, Philosophy from the State of Islamic University, Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. We are happy to see final speakers already here with us, and I would like to invite Professor Amin Abdullah to open the discussion by sharing his thought on the current topic, current issue of Islamic studies, how digital era also influence the nature of Islamic studies in higher education. Professor Amin Abdullah is a philosopher, as well as a professor of Islamic philosophy at the State University Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. He accomplished his Ph.D. in the field of Islamic philosophy in the Department of Philosophy in the Faculty of Art and Science, Middle East Technical University, Ankara, Turkey, in 1990s. And he is also former postdoctoral fellow at McGill University, Canada. He wrote extensive works on philosophy, Islamic studies in Indonesia, and also well-known scholars in Islamic studies. Time is yours, Amin. The speaker will have 20 to 30 minutes, so you may use the time wisely.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, bersyukurillah, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa alihi wa sahbihi wa man amma ba'd. First of all, I have to thank to the seminar committee who invite me to join with you to participate in these discussions. And I personally appreciate the topic raised by the committee on our current real problem today, namely information society, digital era, and also Internet of Things. This topic is very, very important to be discussed in all over the world, not only in Muslim countries, but also in Christians, Catholic, and Buddhist, and Hindu also. As you know that all the new things has a great impact on the society, has a great impact on the religiosity, even a great impact on our nationality too. So this should be discussed frequently, seriously, and also how to solve the problem in front of us. This paper is not original actually because I have submitted these papers in Singapore and ASEAN when they are talking about the religious authority and at the same time in the digital era. So I represented this paper by a slight minor change in the paper. But I have PowerPoint presentation here, so I will start from the first, and then maybe time for 11 slides on something. What is our problem? So this is the primary question that we should arise. What is the contemporary portrayal of Islam in Indonesia after 1998? This is the first step that we have to discuss, because there are many changes in the state's regulations, in the societal life, and also in the bureaucracy. The second one, how globalizations through the arrival of internet access shape the dynamic of Indonesian conservative Islam groups post 9/11. It is very important to be discussed from now on. The third one, how the two biggest Islamic organizations, Muhammadiyah and Nahdlatul Ulama, should navigate their way to tackle the challenge of the rise of Islamism in the last 20 years. Islamism's getting bigger and bigger because of the internet. So this is a very important topic to be discussed from time to time. Okay, a political change and the internet access. A major political change occurred in 1998. A greater space for freedom of expression and on various areas, including religious identity. So suddenly, today, what we experience today is totally different from the 30 or 20 years ago. The case for Islam, for example, a variety of Islam based on ideology has taken shape into new political parties, civil society organization, cultural movement, urban lifestyle, and entertainment. So the penetrations of the internet and other information and communication technology in 2000s created new form of public sphere through cyberspace and impacted the formations of Islamic identity. So with the arrival of internet, the global religious conservatism made its way to reach out more people residing in Indonesia and all over the world. Not only in Indonesia, but also all over the world. You know what happened in Syria, you know what happened in Egypt, you know what happened in Libya. They are facing disasters today because of internet communication activity. So, the internet played a significant role in facilitating communication between Islamic conservatives, intolerant, extremists, radicalists, terrorists, even to connect each other, disseminating information through mailing lists and websites, and eventually influenced the resurgence of Islamic conservatism in Indonesia since 9/11 tragedy. WhatsApp and Telegram provide space for pro-extremist group of Islamic State, ISIS Islamic States, or NIS, to propagate their messages and strengthening their communities. There are many people going to Syria. They dream they will find heaven in Syria, but finally they have to come back to Indonesia. I don't know PNPT how to solve the problem, and also the state themselves. And all over the world, from France, from England, from Belgium, there are many foreign combatant come to Syria. Yeah. Why? it occurs because of internet, because of WhatsApp, and so on. So the question, whether the conservative, the jihadis, and the oppositional Islam are legitimate threat to the religious authority established by the state and the two great Muslim organizations, NU and Muhammadiyah, or not? So this is the big question. You know, this picture is very, very interesting. Next slide. Okay. You see, in the left side, it is NU and Muhammadiyah, and the left side, I don't know, this one is Hizbut Tahrir Indonesia. See? So we have a new friend, namely Hizbut Tahrir Indonesia. We have a new friend, FPI. Suddenly we have FPI. See? 10 or 20 years ago, we don't have such kind of a friend. But today, they have a big followers here in Indonesia. So, what is Islamism? So I call it, via literature that I read, so they call it Islamism. What is Islamism? So not Muhammadianism, not NUism, not Al-Khairatism, but Islamism. What is Islamism? Islamism, as opposed to the religious authority, allied to the state, articulate a vigorous interpretation of Islamic doctrine which find resonance with the youth and the masses. See, the youth is the millennial generation and all the masses. In this case, Islamism is a major competitor of official interpretation of Islam. I said it is quote unquote official interpretations of Islam like Muhammadiyah, like NU, Al-Khairat, Perti, Nahdlatul Wathon, and so forth and so forth. So the creative reworking of Islamic doctrine is not combined in this abstract theological and philosophical discussions as much as it dwells on the problems and the concerns of contemporary Muslim Ummah. So suddenly we have Islamic village. Suddenly we have maybe Muslim hotel. Suddenly we have NKRI bersyariat. Okay, so NKRI is not enough. We have to add the word syariat, for example. Okay, next slide. You like this photo? You see, because suddenly they claim that they are a true Muslims. We are the real Muslim. Who I and that's a photograph. They claim that we are the real Muslim. We are the true Muslim. So this is the big narrative. Muhammadiyah is not the true Muslim. And you is not the true Muslim. Okay? Al-Khairat, Nahdlatul Wathon, and so forth. PAS is not the true Muslim. In Malaysia, PAS is not the true Muslim. And this is a big narrative, a grand narrative, and we find it that we can examine, we can observe every day. You see, that's it. Ahok musuh Islam. So this is a type of Islamism. This is a reunion of 212. This is a type of Islamism. Okay. Okay. Next slide. So suddenly we have this discourse: the real versus unreal Muslim. So Muhammadiyah is not unreal Muslim, and you is unreal Muslim. The only real Muslims is their group. So the real versus unreal Muslim card has been played very effectively. That has influenced several mosques in Jakarta. In Jakarta especially, I don't know the other places, to call on all Muslims not to perform funeral prayer for deceased Muslim who found to have supported Ahok. See? Nowadays, the typical hostile image of Islam is easily found in offline banner, flyer, and also online. especially online. Status updates on social media, broadcast message in via WhatsApp, Line, BlackBerry messages, article posts on the website. So suddenly we have many information, flood of information containing these issues. Next. So suddenly we have a new vocabulary, namely populist Islam. Populism. So populist Islam getting bigger and bigger because of internet. Internet makes it more possible today to have a populist approach of Islam. Populism actually is neither authentic part of modern democratic politics nor a kind of pathology caused by irrational citizen. It is the permanent shadow of the representative politics. So populism is a kind of a permanent shadow of representative politics. Okay, there is always a possibility for an actor to speak in the name of the real people as a way contesting currently powerful elites. You know what happened in general elections? Okay. In the last 2 months, we have general election. You see the war, psycho war, in that period. There was no populism in the ancient Athens, but since the latter exists only in the representative system. So when we have DPR, we have MPR, so suddenly we have shadow representative. Populists are not against the principle of political representations. They just insist that only they themselves are legitimate representatives. This is populism. And that is Islamism in the same time. Next. So, next. So this is what makes me worried actually, and also all the intellectuals in Indonesia, and also all leaders in Indonesia. On the 20 this month, I will be invited by Abdullah to discuss about this issue. I myself have this thesis. The divisive message of oppositional Islam, that is populism, is a complete antidote of the inclusiveness that has been championed by Muhammadiyah and you as official Islam, Indonesian Islam. As mainstream organization, they have been working continuously to build and preserve religious tolerance and strive forward toward peaceful coexistence, like what happened in Indonesia. Muhammadiyah and NU have come a long way to promote compassionate Indonesian Islam narrative through Islam berkemajuan, progressive Islam, and Islam Nusantara, archipelagic Islam. Both of these concepts generally represent the idea of Indonesian Muslim who embrace multidimensionality in Islam and values plurality in Indonesia's highly diverse society. Indonesia is very unique. We have 700 suku, tribes. In Afghanistan, they have only 7 tribes, but quarreling every day, bombing each other, suicide. We have 700. Okay? People who belong to the communities nurtured by Muhammadiyah and you firmly believe that the national slogan Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, many but varied, as fundamental building block of Indonesia is not conflicting Islam in any way. So Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is not conflicting with Islam, not like what they claim. Next. Here you are, the new phenomena. Official Islam and conservative. So Greg Valley and also Sharif Shah Bubakar write about the concerns and also the feeling of uneasiness in Muhammadiyah and also feeling unhappy and envy. Okay? and Muhammadiyah, we can find the member of Muhammadiyah also, I don't know decrease or increase, but maybe according to Greg Valley, the movement of 212, most of them, or a lot of them coming from NU, and also coming from Muhammadiyah. So this is our really our current problem, our contemporary problem. Okay, next. So this book should be read carefully by all Indonesian generations. I don't know whether you read this book or not, Worldwide Global Salvation. It is 10 years ago, maybe. It is printed in 2010, something like that. And this book is very, very good to understand what is going on. Next. Okay, there are 300 pages of this book, so I make it more concise in one slide. You can imagine, but anyway, you as new generation can read it carefully. But next slide. But suddenly, in Indonesia, there is a change in the distributions of ideological Islam, the literature of ideological Islam. Based on the research conducted by Pasca Sarjana UI and Sunan Kalijogo, so we have like a pyramid, something like that. So the first, this is the large portions Islamism popular, and then after that we have Tarbawi types of literature, Salafi type of literature, Tahriri type of literature, and finally is Jihadist type of literature. So I don't know whether you are aware or not about this type of literature. If you are not aware, so you say that Tarbawi, Salafi, or Jihadi is a part of Islamic literature, but it is the newcomers in Indonesian experience and all over the world's experience. Next. So this is the problem that I exposed to the universities of Muhammadiyah, University of Nahdlatul Ulama, state universities in IAIN, UIN, STAIN, even in the public university like Gajah Mada, like UI, and so forth, because they are trapped by this Islamism. Okay? The root of problem, according to myself, the relationship between the exact sciences and humanities is not so clear. There is no relationship between exact sciences and humanities. So this is the most difficult issue. And in religious sciences, it is unfortunate that social sciences and philosophy is regularly absent from the discussions of religious studies or Islamic studies. So the therapy for the students, they have to know this difficult issue, because exact sciences like medicine faculty, maybe chemistry, and all those kind of science, they don't know sharply, seriously about the issue of humanities, and vice versa. Okay? Next. So what should be done by the official Islam? I will stop after this 2 or 3 sessions. As established organization, Muhammadiyah has been occupied with bureaucracy and business administration of its hospital and educational institutions. On the other hand, the leaders of NU are occupied with the political affairs affiliated with the agenda of National Awakening Party PKB or United Development Party PPP. Muhammadiyah and Nahdlatul Ulama elites need to pay a lot more attention to the grassroots people. The absence of Muhammadiyah and key leaders at the grassroots level benefit the opposition of Islam to reach, influence, and mobilize the low-income communities in urban and suburban areas. So, As the two biggest Islamic organizations with extensive educational institution network, Muhammadiyah and you should have serious thoughts on how to reform their approach in conducting religious lessons and their own foundational lessons ke Muhammadiyahan and also ke Aswajaan, so they can leave important legacy by being on the front lead in manifesting the concept of middle path of Islam, wasatiyah Islam. Okay, the last slide. It is a time for Muhammadiyah and you as mainstream organization to evaluate their religious education curriculum and to bring multi, inter, and transdiscipline approach, also known general education or liberal arts education, as you like, in their educational institution. The general purpose of these proposals is to create a comprehensive learning system that provides students and teachers with analytical tools and empathy-based social skills, so they will always choose to keep an open mind in facing the complexity of our everyday life. Especially, it's time to help students and teachers to navigate the religious worldview and non-reactive behavior. As a Muslim and as global citizens, they will be able to manage social and cultural differences by encouraging compassionate dialogue online and offline in the same way. In the digital era and cyberspace, using internet is a must, not only being satisfied with the traditional way of communication, dakwah bil lisan and dakwah bil hal. The last slide. Here you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being very stimulating presentation. And I don't know why the last slide you put my favorite Ustaz. Okay. Your question and answer will be held after the presentation. Now we turn to the second speaker, Professor Mahzan bin Ahmad from Kuliah of Islamic Field Knowledge and Human Science, International Islamic University, Malaysia. His research interests include Islam and media communication, and he published a lot of Islamic communications in the form of books, chapters, and journals as far as he concerns. And today he's going to talk about knowledge building and resacralization of communication studies, Malaysian encounter, case for Nobel Pillar. So, previously we have heard the Malaysian case, and now we are going to listen to the experience of Malaysia. That is yours, Professor.
I'm sorry, previously the topic is a bit different, but the spirit and the essence remain the same. Knowledge building is very important aspect of knowledge making in our society. So in our university, we emphasize on this idea of knowledge building because it is about the production and continuous improvement of ideas and values for the sake of, not for the academic growth, for the sake of the community. Because that encompasses inside the idea of knowledge building principle. So in Malaysia, the idea of this knowledge building started with the colonialism. Okay? So we started with the British idea of education. The idea of British education is to turn, okay, the local Muslims, especially the Malays, because Malaysia and Islam is always related to each other. So the idea is to become, to make the Muslims in Malaysia a much better farmer or fisherman than their fathers. That's the only idea of giving education to the Malay Muslim. But as time goes on, this knowledge building started to give another idea to the Malay Muslim. They become a kind of new intellectual. They start to think about Islam, even though they are very secularized in nature because of the education. Okay? And most of these so-called the new Muslims who think about Islam is not coming from the Islamic studies background, not from the Ustad or Ustadzah. Okay? It's coming from the so-called new Malay secularized elite. So they are start to talk about the importance of civilizational Islam. Islam that talking about a new move, not talking about the backwardness of Muslims. Because at that time, Muslims are very backward. Okay, in terms of education, in terms of property, everything is poor. So this new Muslims start to talk and give the idea of this new Islam. Okay, it's not a new religion. Okay, new emphasis on Islam, on the importance of civilization. So in the end of 60s and the early 70s, so they start to, most of these Muslims who are being trained in West, actually in United Kingdom, they are being exposed to the English education, Western education. They start to realize they got some problem with the Western education. Okay? And this idea of crisis is not being mentioned by the Muslims, but by the Christian or Western people themselves. So they realize about the crisis in Western education, and they also realize about the crisis of the modern man. Modern man referring to the Western people. Okay, they realize, and they write, and they discuss, and they debate. And one of the scholars who talk about this man, he's a medical doctor. Okay? He used to work in England as one of the top doctors there, and then coming back to Malaysia, and he started to send a paper to the government. The need to set up a international Islamic university, not from the Muslim, from the Islamic studies, but from this science. So he died very early. So the project. So in the 70s, the Muslim elite, some of them been trained in local universities. Local universities, especially University of Malaya. At that time, we only got one university, University of Malaya. Okay, and the second university is USM, the sign of NAC. Okay, and the third one, University of Malaysia, in 1970. By 1970s, they got a lot of discussion about the importance of tajdeed among Muslims. Okay, and they form a kind of youth organization known as Habib, Angkatan Belia Islam Malaysia. So this is where the new Malay start to discuss importance of education for the Muslims. So the one of the think tank, okay, this guy, okay, Syed Najib Al-Attab, he is Indonesian by virtue. He's born in Bogor, then he go back to Malaysia, become Malaysian. Okay. He's from Hadrami. So we start to discuss about the importance of this new civilization for Muslims. They start to discuss about the modern Jahiliyah among the Malay Muslims. Okay? They act like Jahiliyah, but they said they are Muslim because of the polarization of the system. Okay. But in Malaysia they got two things that even though they don't pray, they don't fasting, practice Islam, but they got two things they are they go jump and kill you if you say you are kafir. You cannot say that. Whether they don't pray or they don't fasting. So later on in because this solution Islam actually called later on in later years called Islam Adawi, being promoted by previous prime minister. And by 1980s, even though Islam is still, you can say that, not in the center of the political system, the Malaysian government already set up banned Islam in 1983, Islamic University in 1983 also, and Cakapul Islam by 1984. Okay? They start to infuse Islamic principles in the economic system. So the 1970s also saw the idea of this Islamic awakening, revival of Islam, Islamic religion, and Amin become the pioneer, or can say the front center of talking. They start to build up kindergarten, Islamic kindergarten, Islamic school, primary, SMA. And lastly, they proposed a paper through this group, importance of Islamic education. And Syed Najib start to talk about the importance of Islamic education. Okay? And his idea is called the good man. Okay? Islamic education is to produce or to create good men. What is good man according to him? According to him, a good man is a man who is adab. And his idea of adab is coming from a hadith, okay? About the hadith said, Mahzan said, Al-Quran is a banquet. Okay? So the word adab is there. So no mind. You can find things like that. So he said that if you want to be a good Muslim, you must take the idea of this going to a banquet. If you are invited to a banquet, you must have good practices. You just cannot go there and eat like a wild man kind of thing. So similarly, if you want to have Islamic education, you must behave yourself, in particularly yourself. So according to Syed Najib, Islamic education starts with yourself. Okay? So yourself here means your personality. Okay? You must be good. If not, what happens if you have no adab when you want to go for Islamic education? He said Mahzan, it's about that you will become confused. The thing that he said Islamic is not actually Islamic. Okay? And he said that Mahzan, you become a confused man, you become imitated. You claim yourself to be an ustad, but actually you are not. Okay? So that's the idea of the importance of adab. So the man of educated Muslim man should be a man of adab or insan adabi. So insan adabi means you must be conscious of your responsibilities as Muslim towards true God. Why true God? Because in that hadith, the Quran, the banquet, so because all knowledge belong to Him, so you must align that idea of educated man of adab to this idea of Islam. So education, according to Syed Najib, is takdi. Okay? You must inculcate adab in man. For what purpose? Purpose of to achieve or to attain for others. What is the purpose of life? If you are doing short power, the antithesis for others. You will be happy for what purpose? Happy as a Muslim to achieve this position to be closer to Allah. Because the idea of Muslim education here is to become the Khalifah on earth. If you are not having any adab, how can you become a Khalifah? So the third idea of this, in Malaysia, as mentioned earlier on, the education system divided into two. During the colonial time until 1970s. The so-called secularized system and the Islamic system. The secularized system is more advanced as compared to the Islamic system. The system more or less being handled by not by the government per se. It's more by the local or the people. Only by the 70s, the idea of Islam being infused in the mainstream system. Until today, alhamdulillah, we have the so-called Islamic Science School with Islam. Even we have like SMP, Ulil Albab College, where science and Islam are being integrated. Even now, even a private university, we have some private university, we have engineering hafiz. So if you only have 10 juz for Al-Quran, you must go for 7 years. If you have 30 juz, you must go for 5 years. So at the end of the day, you come up Bachelor of Engineering hafiz. That is private university. We are not talking about my university. So the in terms of communication studies, we are in hurry, no planning at all. Communication studies in Malaysia has not been planned, but it's being set up due to the political economy of 1970, where the economic, the new economic policy is to address the idea of differences between Muslim and non-Muslim in terms of economic, education, and political imbalances. So in the nutshell, the community studies in Malaysia this period of time, is very much westernized. Or if one goes specific, it's Midwest phenomenon, US. Because after independence, US are coming in large numbers to Malaysia under the name of Peace Corps. They say we have the Malaysia, to maintain modernity. So very important. So for those who take communication, they are doing this for a time. They will take tram, Shannon and River, microwave, and decor. Everything is from that book or that. Surely they will not take Canadian like Marshall McLuhan. It's not that. It's on the periphery. So the knowledge building during the period of time in terms of communication is very much secular, positivistic, and bordered. So knowledge are very bordered. There's no integration from other disciplines of area. But now come to the okay. Now we are talking about how knowledge building is being made or being created in International Islamic University of Malaysia. So the university been set up in 1983, and the main brain who discussed how to implement Islamic education in this university is Muhammad Kamal Hassan. He later became director. In the beginning, all are Arab. Become the director. And the philosophy of the university is Surah Al-Alaq. Verse 1 to 5. So the effect of all knowledge being being created in this university must put Allah at the top. Whatever knowledge you have, at the top is Allah. So the spirit of this recognition is to represent the effect of all knowledges with him, okay, not with us. So because becoming a student in our university or even the lecturers is an amanah. Okay? And even they coin a word for lecturers in our university as murabbi, that the position. So all learning and teaching, all that is considered as ibadah, as worship. So how to ensure the students have all this good knowledge building? All students, regardless of any discipline, must take Islamic religious course, compulsory. Whether you are medicine or engineering, whatever, you must take. With the emphasis on Islamic worldview. Even though the idea of worldview is very complicated, a lot of discussion whatsoever, but we in UIA or IIM make sure that we infuse this Islamic worldview. So these are some of the names, some of the names who get engaged with this Islamic idea of Islamic knowledge through the so-called Islamization of human knowledge program. Okay. So, and a lot of discussion, what is Islamization? So, next. So, later on, Muhammad Kamal became the director of the university. He disagreed with many of the earlier idea of Islamization. Because the earlier idea of Islamization is coming from triple IT. I mean, most of the men are from triple IT, correct? Virginia, International Islamic. So that's from there. So, but he said he disagreed due to many reasons. So he started to create this new term, Islamicization from the church, a big problem. Okay. Previously they got Z, now got C. Okay. The idea is because I said that with Islamization they create some sort of perception saying that Muslims are against Western knowledge. Okay. They want to throw out the idea of Westopia, the other phobia to the West. Okay. So under this idea of Muhammad Kamal, okay, all knowledges can be divided into two categories: revealed knowledge and human science. And the other day they got one lecturer, I think from this university, from Bob, asking me why the faculty is not called Islamic faculty of Islamic studies. Because according to Kamal, Islamic studies is a problematic kind of category. But they say that Islamic studies is acquired knowledge, not revealed knowledge. Why? Because they say that knowledge that being put forward in this Islamic studies is coming from the not from Allah, in the faith. It's coming from the Ustad or Ustadzah. How they deduce the work from Quran and Hadith. So it needs, to me, that it can be reformed, it can be changed from time to time. Okay? So the Torah that we read is not something that 100% cannot be changed. So that's why we put the Islamic studies under knowledge, not something that 100% legit. The Ustaz will start to debate the idea, but that we done in UIA or IIA. So I said that if you put Islamization, you start to be confused. The term is vague, and the concept of al-ilm, okay, referred in the Quran, okay, is something that of highest order of truth. But the knowledge that we have in the Islamic studies is not to that position. Okay? Even though we take ideas or discussion and we put evidences references from Quran and Hadith. And he said that there are a lot of errors because it's subject to human beings and he's scared that the Islamic studies become kind of area of he put his own full realization. And he said that he's scared that some of the work that we do maybe can be I remember that long time ago, if you study the history of Andalusian journalism time, okay, they show how they changed the position. But this one, I think one minister had some problem with his wife during Ramadan, and he was charged because it's very wrong. Because they rich, if you put the normal category, normal ranking, you must do the 2 months fasting and follow 3 months. You cannot do something and then you put down. But in this case, the big because this guy is so this minister was asked to do 2 months fasting, ranking is 80. So that doesn't mean that if you cannot perform that one, you must be full time. See, because this guy is rich man. So that's one of the reasons. Okay? And because Islamization to some people is like conversion to Islam. If something not Islamic, you convert into Islam, become Islamic. So that's why you change term. And in the context of communication, if we become knowledge building, talking about you must participate in the knowledge making. Okay? So if not, whether communication or Islamic studies will become like what they said in communication studies, the use of magic bullet theory or epidemic needle model. Okay? What I said, you must accept. Okay? So you listen, take it, no question. That's not the idea of normalization. So now come to the what I did in my class. Okay? How to ensure this knowledge building is being done. Okay? So this is because we are using some book. Okay? This is the relevant citation of why we need to check our knowledge that we deliver to students. Okay? So because I'm teaching one, of course, is human relation. So the book that we use is from America, Reed and Brand. So this is a very classical book that most universities are using. But they are talking about, one of the topic is about the emotional intelligence. Okay? So the idea of Islamic idea in emotional intelligence is not included. Okay? So the important, for example, the importance of knife in that emotional intelligence is not being mentioned in the book. Okay? So what I did at, I asked students to do 3 assignments, okay, because knowledge building is where you participate for new idea. Assignment 1, okay, the student must do 30 days assignment based upon how they communicate or relate with other people. Okay? They will write 30 days like a diary. Okay? But I tell them you cannot tell lies. If you tell lies, Allah knows you are lying. And your study will not consider as violent. So I assume they are honest not. They are kind. After that, the second assignment is talking about group work. Okay? How they relate with their friends. So it's more like they start to discuss what happened within the group work. Okay? With regard to community. And surely, in all these assignments, they must relate to the idea of nafsiology. Okay? That one we did given in the class before the assignment done. And the third assignment is the assignment on reflection. So they reflect whether they are, can say Islamic or not Islamic in their relationship with Allah. I think that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation and some interesting point he has made for the topic. And I'm interested in what he says about the rise of new Malay secularized elites who start talking about Islam and it influence to the nature of Islamic studies and development of Islamic education in Malaysia. Okay, the next will be Dr. Martin Slama. His apologies, whose duties is to walk around, visit some places and countries in Southeast Asia, especially in Indonesia. Martin got Ph.D. obtained a PhD in anthropology from the Department of Social and Cultural Anthropology, University of Vienna, Australia, and Austria. Austria. And he obtained habilitation. Habilitation is specific terms and only apply in Germany and some other Austria too. After PhD, you have another degree. After PhD, you have another degree to be able to supervise PhD. Without it, so you have to write the second dissertation. Something like that. So that's a different system of education. In Indonesia, after PhD, you can get everything. But in Germany and Australia, you have to proceed the habilitation. So, and to be examined by other professors, afterward, you can consider as business professor. And Martin has an extensive work on Islam in Indonesia, including his research about Hadrami in Indonesia, and he conducted national ethnography. Ethnography in some regions of Indonesia, in Pekalongan, Manado, Surabaya, Ternate, Sorong, Ambon, and so on. And, but he stayed in Jogja a lot. Thanks, Pak Martin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. Good morning.
So first of all, let me thank the Muhammadiyah University Yogyakarta for inviting me to this highly relevant and interesting conference. I feel very honored to be here among you, and also yesterday already I was attending panels, I was listening to speakers, and I think it was so far a very fruitful intellectual exchange here at this conference. Let me particularly thank Dr. Hilman Latief and Dr. Juliana Putri-Hapsari, who was there, currently away, who were so kind to invite me to this conference. I'm very, very grateful for this. My topic is similar to the one of Professor Amin Abdullah, but I'm particularly focusing on social media and the construction of Islamic authority. And since I'm an anthropologist, I do so from a very anthropological perspective. And what anthropological perspective means hopefully becomes clear in my paper. So today we find a wide variety of constructions of Islamic authority in the Islamic world, including in Indonesia. Muslims can be regarded as Islamic authorities because of their knowledge of Islamic texts, their preaching styles and teaching capacities, their spirituality and wisdom, because of the genealogies that connect them with revered ancestors or teachers. And often it is a mix of these factors that are accompanied by the use of particular media. The use of language or languages in sermons, because language is also a medium. The writing of books, the running of journals and magazines are all long-established forms of Islamic mediation that inform the construction of Islamic authority, which is not necessarily centered in one person, but it can also be centered in a collective, like an Islamic organization, and etc. Or it can be represented by a medium itself. Yeah? I'm thinking here, for example, of the early 20th century reference journal Al-Manar. Yeah? It was widely read in Indonesia in the colonial era, and I think particularly among Muhammadiyah followers. In the meantime, the rise of electronic media, particularly television, new media, such as the internet and social media, in the guise of platforms and apps, has further complicated the picture. Today it seems the connection between Islamic authority and the use of media is of unprecedented significance, generating new models of Islamic authority. Celebrity preachers are a case in point, and we have already seen one picture in the presentation of Professor Amin Abdullah. As one can hardly imagine their existence without the extensive deployment of media. Moreover, new media also generate new audiences. With social media savvy Muslim middle class women playing a particularly salient role in Islam in Southeast Asia today, and I think this is particularly true for Indonesia. In recent years, perhaps one of the most significant shifts in the realm of Islam is the increasing reliance of Muslims on social media when practicing their faith. To a certain extent, media practices have become indistinguishable from religious practices, and most importantly, Muslims themselves often perceive their online activities as part of their pious endeavors to improve their religiosity. Social media are particularly relevant in this regard because they, like other media, are deeply embedded in users' everyday lives. Just when one seeks to understand the relationship between the construction of Islamic authority and social media, one is well advised to consider how a variety of media, the religious and the everyday, intersect. This is an approach, I think a very anthropological approach, that I see at the forefront of latest developments in the study of media and religion, and Islam in particular. Stressing practice in concrete social environments over doctrine, content analysis, or mere reception. In other words, within the anthropology of Islam, Islam has become increasingly understood as a set of practices. And media studies have also discovered the agency of users. To what extent these theoretical shifts were inspired by the introduction of new or social media is open to debate. Yet it seems obvious that this conjuncture of new approaches in studies of Islam and new media provide a useful analytical orientation to examine the latest of dynamics in the construction of Islamic authority. That this field presents itself so dynamic today can of course not only be attributed to the introduction of new communication technologies and new media. Muslim majority countries in Southeast Asia and other parts of the world have undergone significant social and political changes in the last decades, comprising the rise of the Muslim middle class and particular consumption patterns in religious life. This is another conjuncture that we can discern not in theory but in empirical terms, namely that these social and political developments coincided with the transformation of media landscapes, particularly with the introduction of the internet in the late 1990s, as already been mentioned by Professor Amin Abdullah. Whereas I want to refrain from establishing a causal link here, what seems obvious is that in the Indonesian case, internet and later social media have contributed to far-reaching developments in the country, such as the pluralization of communication channels, making it difficult for religious figures to establish or re-establish a condition of discursive hegemony. At the same time, it would be inadequate to protect the context in which Islam is practiced today as a realm of unconditional opportunities and freedoms, or as solely inspired by a spirit of tolerance and democracy. Yet, what we can observe is a variety of Islamic practices online, which is often reflected, which often reflects the novel ways in which Muslims express their religion. And they often do so in a collective manner. Which brings me to the first of 3 points that I want to highlight in this talk, namely the connection between Islamic authority and sociality. So this is my first major point. So online forms of Islamic practice are often rooted in offline religious life. In Indonesia, the rise of new communication technologies has coincided with the emergence and spread of collective forms of piety. I'm thinking here particularly of Islamic study groups, so much as taklim and praying sessions, pengajian, and so on. Given the popularity of Islamic study groups and prayer meetings, a new market has opened up for both male and female preachers, ustad and ustazah. Islamic study groups and prayer meetings are based on a variety of social formations and can differ considerably in size. Most importantly, today it usually includes an online element as well. Middle and upper class Muslims now expect to be able to contact their preacher between meetings through messaging apps such as WhatsApp, Line and Telegram. These private communication channels available through messaging apps are used to ask questions not only about proper Islamic practice, but also about personal matters. The prayer group and the preacher-follower relationship seems to be a strictly offline affair. The regular face-to-face meetings with an ustad or ustazah are now supplemented by frequent online exchanges. And posing questions to the preacher has become as uncomplicated as sending a message on WhatsApp. This means that the Islamic prayer group and the preacher have increasingly become part of everyday life of Indonesian Muslims. And I think also Muslims in other countries. This expansion of Islamic sociality into the realm of messaging apps has temporal, economic, and emotional ramifications. When they send their questions to a preacher, middle and upper class Muslims expect to receive a quick answer, especially if the matter concerns a personal or family problem, such as an affair or divorce. As I argued elsewhere in more detail, the subtle economy of time surrounding the online exchanges between preachers and their followers inform the extent to which preachers are able to cater to the needs of their followers. Moreover, because preachers depend on their followers for a considerable part of their incomes, they have to put an effort into becoming and remaining popular through any means available to them, including social media. Today, this entails finding the right words at the right time in private online exchanges. One can observe the situation now amongst those preachers who are not attentive to the emotional ups and downs of middle class and upper class Indonesians, that is, preachers who are having difficulty with their new role as online consultants, risk not being able to gain or keep a share of Indonesia's Islamic preacher economy. Only celebrity preachers with their own TV shows or huge personal following would appear to be exempt from this logic. However, even they generally employ social media teams to respond to personal messages in an effort to project an image of someone who cares about their individual followers. In addition to introducing a new dynamic into the preacher-follower relationship and therefore the Islamic preacher economy, social media platforms have provided an outlet for a practice that first appeared before the rise of social media, the practice of pouring out one's heart, or curhat. This phenomenon was first observed among urban teenagers and young adults in offline context, before becoming a major motivation in the early 2000s for young Indonesians to join internet chat rooms and other online forums. Since many parts of Indonesia are characterized by complex cultures of shame or malu, in these cultural settings where exhibiting one's emotions is strongly discouraged, internet chat rooms provided the necessary privacy and anonymity to talk about one's problems openly and to seek emotional support. To reach the position of an online consultant, in the first place, a preacher must demonstrate the talent for preaching offline. be well received by the largely female audience, and, as discussed above, show that he can respond to online messages with empathy and without much delay. In this regard, one should not underestimate the role of the women who run Indonesia as much as I can, because it is they who determine who will be invited to preach at the meetings. And it is they who judge the content of the sermons and who exchange views on the preacher's online behavior. They have what James Hosbury has called a new form of consumer power. He was referring to the relationship between TV preachers and their audiences, but I argue that the women who dominate local Islamic study groups and those groups' online extensions have even more consumer power than the followers of popular TV preachers, because TV preachers are abundant only in the most extreme cases. That is when their behavior strongly alienates their fans. We all know the case of Hilman. So earlier studies of the Islamic online presence saw the internet as a sphere in which the authority of established Islamic scholars was being undermined. For example, based on an analysis of Islamic websites, John W. Anderson asserted that the internet had become an arena for alternative expressions of Islam, both to popular and to traditional elite views. Contemporary uses of social media in Indonesia suggest a more complex picture. What we encounter in Indonesia today is a novel constellation of interfaces that is a mix of online and offline relationships and exchanges that are facilitated by social media. This provides opportunities for both the ability and the questioning of authority by a variety of actors. What we are currently witnessing is the rise of preachers who are not affiliated with the well-established Islamic organizations and movements. Not only are these new players obliged to compete with the more established colleagues among each other, but they must also regularly demonstrate their Islamic expertise and social skills in Indonesian online and offline settings. As a result, the question who can be regarded as an Islamic authority is no longer decided solely by learned elites in Islamic and state institutions, but also by the mainly female organizers of Islamic study groups and followers of Islamic preachers. In these realms of Islamic sociality, with their close online-offline connections, Islamic authority is more frequently constructed dialogically, with women in particular taking the opportunity to talk back. So in the case of Islamic study groups that go online, a personalized form of Islamic authority represented by the preacher is still needed. My next example, however, so the second example, concerns self-empowerment through self-discipline. It represents also a collective form of being pious, but does not necessarily rely on an authoritative figure like the preachers anymore. I'm referring here to online Quran reading groups. As in other parts of the Islamic world, reciting the Quran has long been a widespread practice in Indonesia. However, it has received additional impetus from the rise of social media, as reflected in the increasing popularity of the one day, one choose method. Odoch. Maybe we have also some Odoch practitioner in the world. So, Odoch is a method of reading the Quran. Right? Also a method of reading the Quran using messaging apps such as WhatsApp and Telegram. Muslims who want to practice Odoch from groups of 30 people, with each member being obliged to read a different chapter of the Quran every day for 30 days. As the Quran has 30 chapters, each group collectively reads the whole Quran every day. And over the course of the months of 30 days, the group collectively reads the Quran 30 times, and each member personally completes the Quran once in one month. So in Indonesia, these groups were popularized by the One Day One Choose movement. The latter has, I think, more than 100,000 active members and has its own website, Twitter account, and Facebook page. People who are interested in participating in an online reading group register online and then assigned to a group without consideration of their place of resistance. Of their place of residence. Most importantly, each member has to report every evening whether he or she has read the chapter of the Quran that was assigned to him or her. Given the strict rules on reporting at a designated time each day, the groups have this disciplining effect on their members. Evoking Foucault, one could say that they represent a kind of disciplinary online institution. Adhering to the daily deadline can be accomplished only through a form of self-discipline, with which, as one can easily imagine, many people are struggling. In any case, discipline, self-discipline is crucial for this practice that allows Muslims to reassure themselves of their piety without adhering to an Islamic authority that is personalized. So offline self-discipline and peer pressure of the online community enable to demonstrate a kind of assertiveness and self-empowerment in the practice of religion. So my third and last point that I want to make concerns online activities and the spread of Islam. Da'wah has obviously gone online today and includes all kinds of posting Islamic content on various social media platforms in the form of texts, pictures, videos, live streaming, etc. Most significantly, on these platforms one can find not only well-established Islamic authorities engaging in this practice of posting, but also ordinary Muslims engaging in what they call da'wah. For example, people told me that when family members of them went on a pilgrimage and posted pictures of Mecca and Medina, they considered that the practice of posting pictures of Islam's holy sites is at first glance it might seem surprising that posting photos of a pilgrimage on Facebook can be regarded as da'wah, a term that is usually reserved for the more elaborate forms of proselytization conducted by learned scholars of Islam. This expansion of the definition of da'wah to online activities that do not require any particular theological expertise cannot be attributed solely to the popularity of social media among Tunisian Muslims. Also, this does seem to have reinforced the trend. I see it as an expression of a larger shift that is taking place in which new religious figures and their audiences are renegotiating the premises on which Islamic authority rests. Due to this shift, it has become possible for ordinary Muslims to regard themselves as performing. Whereas the examples discussed so far, so my three examples, mainly deal with cases where social media are appreciated as enabling platforms to new forms of piety that do not only, or only to a limited extent, rely on established Islamic authorities. One has to add that social media generate not only heightened Islamic piety and enthusiasm, but also serious concerns and anxieties. These concerns are often expressed by referring to the concept of riya, that describes the practice of showing off one's piety. It has a firm place in Islamic theology, in which it is categorized as a sin that has to be avoided. The ways in which some Tunisian Muslims, especially well-off Muslims living in urban areas, are expressing their piety in the real and digital worlds has attracted criticism on the grounds that it smacks of consumerism and actually does violate the Islamic injunction against showing one's piety. Since social media encourage semi-public communication and visibility, we live in an age now in which riya has not only gained new significance, but is also interpreted in new ways. Muslims today are discussing which posts should be categorized as riya, that is, the point at which the laudable practice of wanting to please God is overtaken by the strongly discouraged practice of seeking admiration for one's pious deeds. As popular as it is to be digitally pious, it also generates ambivalence, since exemplary Islamic practice, when displayed by oneself on social media, can easily be regarded as the exact opposite. So this is a question of finding a balance between, on one hand, using the new opportunities of social media platforms they provide to do pious deeds, and on the other hand, avoiding the social media pitfalls that put Muslims at risk of behaving in morally objectionable ways. So, I'm coming to my conclusions now. How about the time? It's okay? So, when one looks at current Islamic developments through the lens of the digital, it immediately becomes obvious that one can find Islamic expressions and practices virtually everywhere online. That is, on every social medium that is currently popular. However, focusing on the online realm alone would risk missing a crucial point, namely that the strong connections between digital and non-digital forms of piety. Islamic study groups and Quran reading groups are not inventions of the digital era. Rather, with the rise of social media, they have experienced a reconfiguration, generating new forms of Islamic sociality that are located at the interface between the digital and non-digital realms. Similarly, the role of Islamic preachers experiencing is experiencing a transformation as breach of formal relationships are renegotiated and Indonesian Muslims become better equipped to engage in dialogue with and make demands on their preachers. Educated middle-class women in particular are taking the opportunity that the new social media forum provides to intervene in the construction of Islamic authority. This is certainly not a consequence of digitalization, as Muslim women had their role in this before. But the way they do so today, demanding quick, thoughtful, and empathic responses, used to be uncommon and was perhaps even unthinkable at a time when these relationships were solely dependent on offline encounters. The entanglements between digital and non-digital ways of being pious, between online and offline forms of Islamic sociality, between change and continuity in Indonesia's religious lives are to a large extent informed by practices of discipline, of self-discipline, and self-empowerment. On social media platforms, for example, proselytization is clearly not the preserve of established Islamic scholars and professional preachers. Rather, da'wah has become an everyday activity conducted by ordinary Muslims, who provide status updates on Facebook referring to their religious activities as a reminder for their friends and families. The depth to which social media have already penetrated the everyday lives of Indonesian Muslims is perhaps best exemplified by online Quran reading groups. Members are expected to recognize their daily schedules in order to be able to prove their pious to fellow Muslims online. Being a member of a Quran reading group has a disciplining effect and spurs Muslims to exercise self-discipline. Since with the introduction of social media, there are no longer only exemplary Muslims and Sufi mystics who engage in self-discipline practices. Since Quran reading groups have become a mass phenomenon, online religious practices have become part of the Islamic middle-class lifestyle, with all the ambivalences that this implies. So, as I have tried to make clear in this paper, religious life in Muslim-majority countries, and especially in Indonesia among urban-based middle-class Muslims, is intrinsically and irreversibly, it seems, entangled with the everyday uses of social media. Forming Islamic socialities, reading the Quran, following particular preachers, and preaching itself have all become practices that are more or less connected to the platforms and communication channels of today's social media. These shifts in Islamic practice have, of course, consequences for how Islam is developing in Indonesia and other parts of the Islamic world, and for how Islamic authority is constructed. So what we see is a trend towards a more dialogic construction of Islamic authority that comprises not only the discussion of Islamic content, but also effective exchanges between the Islamic figure and his followers. Moreover, we can observe popular forms of Islamic online practices that are self-empowering and thus concentrate Islamic authority in the practitioner himself or herself. For this form of asserting Islamic authority, an Islamic figure is not needed anymore, while the community or the public represents the precondition for expressing one's piety only. Social media today does provide both the communication channels for dialogic construction of Islamic authority and the platforms on which self-empowerment of ordinary Muslims can take place as another way of constructing Islamic authority. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Latief, for the stimulating presentation. And I believe everyone has a highlight ideas from the presentations. Last presentation, Martin also talked about the current development of the use of social media, for young Muslims. And social media functions not only to communicate with each other, but also as a medium for da'wah. And what is interesting is that what he said, sometimes we see that performing da'wah in the internet or social media by young Muslims indicate that da'wah activities do not require particular expertise from the da'i. So because they consider da'wah as part of the daily life, and therefore it is interesting how to see also
social media and internet is a way to self-empowerment. A lot of people learn the Quran, reading the Quran, the Sunnah through the internet, and they disseminate their idea also through social media. Now we come to question and answer, and I will give you opportunities to raise questions, to give comment for all speakers, and from this side, this side, and that side. From here, any question or comment? No? This 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. 5 comment. And please address to which speakers or panitia. Please introduce yourself and from which university.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sukarman. I come from Universitas Islam Nahdlatul Ulama, Jepara. Okay, my question is goes to Prof. Amin Abdullah. Is the one the idol of my friend Mr. Mahfud from Win Suka. That he very obsessed the integration and interconnection concept by Prof. Amin Abdullah. Okay, my question is from the Prof. Amin mentioned that before. Prof. Amin mentioned that about Islamism. The example is 212 movement as an example of Islamism in Indonesia. But I think that it's not only pure about religion motive, but also political motives. Because it appears in political year or political movement that stimulate and growth through social media. And my question is, the first one, based on Prof. Amin Abdullah analysis, it would be finished or extinct after political event, or it would be exist. And the second one, is it, 212 movement is the first type of Islamism, or there was similar organization before, in Indonesia or in another country around the world? Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Next. Okay.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amin. I'm from the Office of the Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Indonesia. And actually, previously, I graduated from Australian National University and studied Islamic Southeast Asia. So, just want to comment about the social media and spreading of Islamic teaching, because so many young people try to study or understand about the Islamic teachings nowadays. But the point is that sometimes you just read and then spread anything about Islamic teachings without trying to find or trying to understand or to comprehend more about Islamic teachings. So I think it's just because our culture that critical thinking is not the option for the young people to have different point of view, for example. So I'm trying to find another Islamic teaching for other scholars. So they just follow one preacher, for example. So I just want to say that I think it's our responsibility, including the Islamic scholars, and also for the practitioner in university or other Islamic school, that it's time for you to give the opportunity for the students to have critical thinking. When they have a different view and they have argumentation, so why you just give it trying? Because when you follow and you just say, okay, you're right, about something. But sometimes one preacher has more knowledge about one thing, for example, for Islamic history. But when they're talking about, for example, Islamic economy, they don't understand. They just put, take all kind of economy knowledge from other part, but actually they don't understand. So that's my comment. Thank you very much.
Okay, no question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Kana Samrina from doctoral program Islamic Educational Psychology. Maybe my question is different from the who has the philosophy background, because I'm in psychology background. First of all, I'm really interested on Pak Slama's explanation, but I quite hard to focus because as a foreigner, I use my visual to see at least the slide, but I can follow, but not fully your explanation. Maybe this is the question to all the speakers. I want to know about how to handle the question. As you know that from Pak Amin's and Pak Mahzan's presentation, we can see that we have phenomena that we can see that the crisis in both in humanitarian and Islamic practice, like Pak Slama said. So what I want to know is we have to fix this because we cannot deny the digital era. We have to survive on the medsos and so on. So, what level do you think we should fit the problem that Pak Amin and Pak Mahzan showed just now? So, what level we should fix the problem amongst the social media challenge, because it's not easy to take the young generation to follow Islamic teaching if they have the basic to how to afford that challenge, that media social challenge. That's all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hidayah and I'm from Nahdlatul Ulama, University of Jakarta. My highlight is the Muslim society or Islam issue was changed from one era to another era. And we know that the issue was different from one era and transformed from, as we know, Westernism or secularism, and now we face the Islamism. Can we say that the Islamism is an evidence that Muslim society success when they are faces the secularism and Westernism? And the second, my highlight is by internet or by digital era, we know that the world is changing to be global village or big village, and every Muslim connects with another Muslim from one country to another country. So the question is, why Hizbut Tahrir consists with their issue or with their propaganda to build the Khilafah. My question is for my teacher, Prof. Amin Abdullah, and for Mr. Amin. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, over here, 2 questions from Pakistan.
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muflis Ramarto from Universitas Muhammadiyah Jakarta. I think this conference is very insightful because our speaker is the best speaker. From the speech of Pak Amin, I think Pak Amin is too pessimistic because the rising of Islamism and Islamic populism and other new Islamic school in Indonesia. I think it's commonly like in the past in Islamic history, there are Khawarij in other school, Dahiris or Tekwarism, and it is repeated in our history in the modern age. And I think we must feel more optimistic, like Martin Slama mentioned. There are many progressive in Islamic studies in digital era. Like there are a million books, Islamic books or Islamic or Arabic books were digitalized. We can write. We can access. I remember when I back from my study in Middle East, I think what kind of book I must buy or to book. How can I send my books to my country? And now we can download it because all is free. There are a lot of books, all is free. Okay. So I think we must optimistic about the future of Islamic studies in digital era. So my question goes to Pak Amin and Pak Martin Slama. What's the future of the Islamic studies, especially in the digital era? It will be progressive or will be set back? And my second question goes to Pak Cik Mahzan. You mentioned about the Islamization of knowledge, in case in UIA or IUN. My question is, how about the result of Islamization in Malaysia, in case IUN nowadays? Is the goal reached? I mean, based on the Alatas theory, the people more academic or more happy because the result of Islamization in knowledge. I think my question is, thank you very much.
Okay, one last question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Megayati. I'm from Universitas Muhammadiyah Jakarta, and right now in political Islam, just political Islam and in politics. So my question is related to Amin mentions about the opposition and also official Islam, because actually I have also conducted research on political Islam discourse in the Reformation era. So there is a changing, actually there is a shift
then I feel, that I see from my observations that in the beginning of Reformation, for examples, the discourse is about minorities versus, we can say, the official religions. So minority like Ahmadiyya, Shia, is really the challenge for the official religions. But then it can be solved by the political action, because Ministry of Religious Affairs can make it like policy and make it such kind of the claims about their discourse in their speeches in everywhere in Indonesia. But the problem is that the still it's not right now it's not about minorities to official religions, but the still is oppositions than to official. Then the opposition, like mentions alumni 212, alumni 212, and then FBI, and also FBI. Okay, I'm afraid that I mentioned FBI, and HCI. And then I'm thinking that in previously we're talking about mainstreams, because usually officials religious message mentions that this is not mainstream, we are mainstream. But then right now there's opposition and also official. Opposition now, what is the mention? What is the mainstream? I mean, so it's like the mainstream right now is not in official anymore, but in opposition. So there is a changing of power sphere. And I think mainstream discourse is not relevant anymore to mention in this case. But maybe the relevance is about populism right now. So I really want to discuss actually, because here it's not enough time to discuss with Abdullah. Yeah? And then my questions maybe, you mentioned about multidisciplinary approach, interdisciplinary. This is a big approach, and I'm thinking that we are as researchers sometimes we use it, but the development of society is faster than our research. Yeah. So I'm thinking that maybe you have a predictions. Where is actually directions if we do not use this approach that you propose? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Big applause for all questions. Yeah, that's interesting, because I saw also the non-mainstreams trying to be the mainstreams, or the mainstreams, the non-mainstream. So let's say it's a non-mainstream Islam, but in fact they have efforts to be mainstream by influencing the authorities, minister, or like the council of ulama, as you have seen in the past, Prof. Amin, when the official influenced by unofficial, as mentioned, when the fatwa of Majlis Ulama issues because of the influence of certain groups, as we call unofficial. So the second issue I would like to raise for Amin is, I read the dissertation written by Dr. Nur Ikhwan, who defined official Islam is actually represented not by Nahdlatul Ulama and Muhammadiyah, instead by the Ministry of Religious Affairs. So I personally agree if we can say the mainstream Muslims, like Nahdlatul Ulama, not official Islam. Official is the Minister of Religious Affairs. That's my comment on this. Thank you. And your turn to respond.
Thank you very much. I myself also learned from you how you react to my thesis. First of all, related to the dissertations about mainstream and non-mainstream, heavily cited official Islam is limited only as a religious offense. Okay, but you do not forget that NU and Muhammadiyah has only been there for years before the nation states emerged. So NU and Muhammadiyah is the big bone of Indonesia. So we cannot say that only the Department of Religious Affairs is only the official Islam. I myself claim, as long as Muhammadiyah and you are the big bone of Indonesia, so they are official Islam. So that's the difference point of view. Of course, right now, and you, as well as Muhammadiyah, finds difficult, very difficult issue because of the impact of the general elections, the impact of the movement of 212. Let us see what happened in NU and Muhammadiyah after next year, 2020. Okay. I hope there will be no problem in electing the chief or the headquarters of Muhammadiyah and NU. But if there will be change, a great change, so suddenly, I don't know, I'm pessimist, not pessimist, but optimist, of course. I'm optimistic because when I deliver my khutbah Idul Fitr, I said that on top of those difficulties, Indonesia still have local culture, local wisdom, kearifan lokal, kearifan. I cannot imagine if Jawa and other places in Indonesia, they do not have local wisdom. Okay, so what happens after the general elections? We will be sharply divided. Okay, sharply divided, but the people can manage themselves. Not the elite, but the grassroots people can manage themselves, and then we are not divided sharply into two camps. Okay, so not talking about official and unofficial or official or oppositional. It is not enough for me. It is not enough because we have still, and somehow I want you to add my explanations about the local wisdom in Indonesia, because local wisdom is above all. Okay? If Indonesia doesn't have a local social capital and cultural capital, I am very pessimistic. But as long as Indonesia has local and social capital, and it is very rich in Indonesia, so I am optimistic, not pessimistic. But let us see what happened after 10 years, after 5 years, and so forth. Okay, so my response to Mbak Mega. So don't be trapped by oppositional and official and oppositional Islam. This is my way to explain what is going on in the current Indonesia today. But still, the hidden one is the local culture and local wisdom. I don't know if it's ta'adib or whatever you say. It is tarbiyah or ta'adib, but it is more important than online discussion. Okay? It is more important than online discussion and online debate. So this is the first comment. The second comment, in this digital era, I classify into two themes of discussions in the internet media. The first is a ritual one, practices, Slama said, the Islamic practices side, and the other side is not the Islamic practices side, but the social and political side. I differentiate between those two. Maybe we can more optimistic in the ritual and religious or Islamic religious practices, ritual practices. Right now, we can learn and we can study about how to practice Salat, for example, in the Southern America. Without going into Arab countries, they know how to practice Salat, for example. So this is maybe it is the optimist side of internet communication. But my pessimist side about the internet communications is in the second one, namely the social aspect of the social aspect, the cultural aspect of living together. Living together is the social aspect, because I differentiate from the Ulumuddin from the early beginning. They divide into two kinds. First is Islamic religious practices, means ritual, and the second one is the social practices, and it is related to aqidah. Okay? So the most problematic, and we have solved together, I myself cannot solve, because in the social, political, and religious aspect, it is it is dangerous if we cannot have a good methodology on this issue. See what happens in India today, for example. Not only Islam. Islam is not exception. India, maybe Trump, maybe in other places, there are many actors doing the same thing. In India, for example, ethno-religious nationalism is very dangerous, because in front of them, 150 million Muslims should be expelled from India to Pakistan. So this is their fear. The Hindu fear of Islam is very, very huge in India. So I read one article that said that Indonesia is better than India. So this is a good questioning mark, and we have to develop the research on this issue. Why Indonesia better than India on this issue? Although we are confronted and bombarded by online media, but still we are better than India. So this is a good question, and we have to do research more deeply on this issue, and we can share, as Shifak said in his talk. We have to share what is going on in Indonesia to all over the world. Pancasila, for example, we have to share to all over the world. Okay, because Pancasila is the extract of the local wisdom in Indonesia, not only spiritual, the local spirituality, but also worldly spirituality. So suddenly we have Indonesia as it is. You see, so you can blame me as pessimistic, or you cannot blame me as pessimistic, because I have two sides. On the other hand, I am pessimistic, but on the other hand, I have optimistic, but by qualification, of course. So the third one, this is the last my comment. So how to deal with the methodology? And this is difficult when we learn from online, because online is linear, mono algorithm. You cannot compare with other algorithms. It is unfortunate. So I have a dream in order to have a new algorithm. The new algorithm which can lead us to see the world in multi-perspective and comparative perspective and cross-reference perspective. And right now we do not have that kind of algorithm. The algorithm we have is only monolithic. Okay. You believe only your teacher, as if in the work is only your teacher. You do not understand the other teachers. So this is our problem today in the era of digital era, in the cyberspace, So let us read the book like Religion and Cyberspace. What happens with the religions after having online discussion? Thank you.
Because we return to response to the question or comment.
The question is whether the Arabic intelligence have been prospering or not after the come up with the idea. Now the research has been done, okay, on this issue, and they got a lot of challenges, especially when the population is heterogeneous. Or simply we can say that if the local population, the idea of artificial intelligence is much better. But when you talk about the non-Malaysian students, you got some problem with regard to this artificial intelligence. Okay? Perhaps due to their upbringing, they just come to Malaysia for 4 years. So this Arabic intelligence got some problem to be encountered by this type of students. But not all, but some problems are coming from this cohort. I'd like to make some comments with regard to the social media. I think one of the issues that we need to address is that we must understand the nature of social media. As far as I can remember, in Malaysia, I don't know in Indonesia, but in Western Europe, they got one officer, they call it information officer, who work for the government, and they will go on TV telling, okay, what is social media is about, what is the consequences of using this, using that. Okay, so they are not users alone. But we in Malaysia, I don't know in Malaysia, we are users. We don't understand, we don't study, we just use. So that got a problem. Okay? You must remember that when we use social media, for example, it creates a so-called hive mind, that bee. Okay? You send one message to one person, that person will send to 10 person, and that 10 will send to 10, 20%, hive mentality. So if this hive is not being controlled by your adult, perhaps, will create a lot of problems. Okay? You end up having one teacher only as your source of reference. So in my university, one of the solutions, not for all solutions, with regard to this one teacher problem, we teach one course. Okay? They call it thinking technique for communicators. So they will teach all techniques. Okay? So you must take this technique to understand this technique. So it gives choices and alternatives. And surely, if you want this teaching is not like science. You put something X, come up and add X. No. So it's a lot of challenges. So in the case of this Arabic intelligence, surely we are trying our best to make them Arabic men. But surely at the end of the day, it's not always 100%. Okay, that's
Thank you. Martin. Yes, thank you very much for your questions and comments. Maybe I want to add one remark on what I have already said in the paper, and I think that touches most of the comments that we have heard before. And I think the issue we are actually talking about here is is the digitalization of Islamic knowledge, and all that involves. And as you have rightly pointed out, today we can access all sorts of Islamic knowledge online. We can download books, comments, classical works, the latest writings of the Islamic intellectual that we admire, etc. Almost everything is accessible online. But that does not mean that by downloading these things, we actually access them. To access them, we still need a very old basic technique, and that is reading. So all that we download, we have to read as the books that we have in material form. This exercise of reading is not going away. And I think the same is true for the process of learning. It is still a process of speaking and listening. Also in today's world, and that started not only with social media, but especially with television. We are so conditioned to the visual. So everything has to be visualized. And when we got a picture, so literally a picture of something, we think we have understood. But this disregards this basic technique of learning, and that is reading, and that we can only practice, and reading is a practice, that we can only do if we have developed something what Pierre Bourdieu has called habitus, which maybe can be translated into Indonesian as kebiasaan, kebiasaan yang mendarah daging, this is the habitus. So if we do not, or if we have not developed this habitus of learning, this scholarly habitus, all the knowledge that is available in the digital world will not help us, because we cannot access it. Because if we for example, we want to read a book and we only read the first paragraph or the first page, this will not be enough. But that's what we are in today's age, we are accustomed to. Because the texts on Facebook, etc., they are usually very short. On Instagram, there are almost no text anymore. It's just pictures, pictures, pictures. And in a scholarly environment like this one, at this university, I think if we reflect upon the digital today, in Islamic studies, as the topic is of this conference, we should consider we still should consider these basic techniques of learning, and that is reading, writing, and listening, which I think is still very relevant today. So maybe I'm old-fashioned, Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I think because the visual is getting so dominant, in conveying knowledge, as lecturers, as professors, etc., as people who work in academia, we should particularly stress this old habits of learning, because otherwise I think we will not comprehend. We will become very superficial, and that's maybe the point that I want to make, and I hope that you will forgive me that I have done a non-digital presentation at the conference on digital. Thank you.
is also a contradictory fact when, as Pa Muhlis said, that now books are available online. You can easily access many books, all the books that you want. But the eagerness, the effort to read increases. Especially, I don't know whether this applies only to young people or to old generation too. Whether to millennial only or also for the colonial generation. There are all these sources, progressive book on Islam, experts talking about Islam, write very sophisticated ideas. But at the same time, effort and especially effort as well as the eagerness among new generation to read such kind of books decrease, to learn further about Islam, and they are interested in the visualization of Islam or the image of Islam. This show the contradictory fact in our world, and therefore who is going to champion these contesting ideas in the digital era? Which types of Islam that they champion in this contesting ideas of Islam? So there's a lot of questions on this. Okay, I think time is up. And a lot of fruitful discussion and very many good comment and question. And one thing that I would like to mention, I'm afraid that you interchangeably use the term Islamism and Islamization, because Islamism doesn't mean that in Pa Amin's definition as the successful ideas of Islam in implementing Islamic teaching, instead it is more political. So Islamism is not contradictory to this presentation of the secularism. Islamism is in terms of political Islam. That's some points. Again, thank you very much for all audience and all the speakers. And your duty is, of course, our as the conference participant is to refine our paper, read more literature, accomplish our research, then write it down, revise the paper, and then get publication. That's the scholars do. And hopefully everyone here can good publication in the future based on the paper presentation in these 2 days workshop or conference. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for the moderator.